Hey everyone, and welcome. Have you ever felt like your German sentences just sound a little off? A bit clunky or repetitive? Well, if that's you, you're in exactly the right spot. Today we're going to zero in on the one thing that will make your German sound so much more natural. By the end of this, you'll have the keys to unlock a smoother, more flowing way of speaking. So, let's dive right in. First things first, let's talk about the main problem that pronouns were invented to solve. And really, it all comes down to one simple thing: avoiding repetition.
Okay, take a listen to this. Michael learned Deutsch. Michael is fleißig. This just means Michael learns German. Michael is diligent. Now, grammatically, there's nothing wrong here. It's technically correct. But just listen to how it sounds.
Yeah, it sounds a bit robotic, doesn't it? It's stiff. No native speaker would actually talk like that. We're saying Michael twice in a row when we really don't have to. And this is the perfect moment for our hero to step in, the personal pronoun.
So what is a personal pronoun? Honestly, it's just a stand-in. Think of it like a substitute player. It's a word like he, she, or it that jumps in to replace a noun we've already mentioned. So instead of that clunky Michael, we can say Michael, he. And just like that, it sounds 100 times better.
So let's go ahead and meet the main cast of characters. These are the workhorse words you're going to be using all the time to make your German sound incredibly smooth and natural.
Whoa, okay, that is a big chart. But listen, don't worry. Don't feel like you have to memorize this whole thing right now. We're going to break it down. For now, I just want you to look at that first column, the one labeled nominative. This is the subject column. You probably recognize a bunch of these already. Ich, du, sie. We'll get to what those other columns mean in just a minute.
Now, here's something that's absolutely crucial in German: how you say the word you. If you're talking to a friend, a family member, or a kid, you use du. If you're talking to a group of friends, you use ihr. But, and this is a big but, for strangers, in any kind of formal or business setting, or just to show respect, you must use sie. And the most important part? That formal sie is always, always capitalized. It's a non-negotiable sign of politeness.
All right, let's move on. Pronouns and their jobs. Remember those other columns in that big chart we just saw? The easiest way to think about them is as different jobs that a pronoun can have inside a sentence. In German, these jobs have a special name. We call them cases.
There are three main jobs you really need to know. First up is the nominative. This is the subject of the sentence, the one who's actually doing the action. In ist fleißig, is the one doing the being. Pretty simple, right? Next, we have the accusative. This is the direct object. It's the person or thing that is directly getting the action. In ich kenne ihn, I'm the one doing the knowing, and ihn is the person being known. And finally, there's the dative. This is the indirect object, which is often the recipient or the destination of the action. In gibt ihr das Buch, ihr is the person who ends up with the book.
Let's actually trace the flow of action in that last sentence, step by step. Step 1, who's doing the thing? He. That's our nominative. Step 2, what's the action? Gibt, gives. Step 3, who is ultimately receiving something because of this action? Ihr, her. That's our dative. And what is the thing being given? Das Buch, the book, which makes it the accusative. See how the pronoun changed from sie to ihr, all because of the job it has in the sentence? That right there is the German case system in action.
Okay, great. Now that we know how to replace people and things with pronouns, let's talk about how to show what belongs to them. And this is where our next set of tools comes in, the possessive pronouns.
And the good news is, the connection here is super logical. If we're talking about Anna, we use the personal pronoun sie for she. Then, if we want to talk about something that belongs to her, like her car, we use the possessive pronoun ihr for her. So, sie ist nett becomes das ist ihr Auto. See? It's a really direct link.
And here they are, the basic forms. Every personal pronoun has a matching possessive. So ich turns into mine, du turns into dein, becomes sein, and so on down the line. But hang on, look closely here. You see that her is ihr, there is ihr, and the formal your is ihr? They look almost identical. This is where context, and that super important capital letter for the formal version, becomes your best friend.
Okay, we're on to the final, and I think most powerful piece of this whole puzzle. In German, these little possessive words like mine and dein actually have to change their endings. Why?
to agree with the noun they're describing. This has a fancy name, declension, but please don't let that word scare you. I promise, it's really just a matching game.
To keep things simple, let's just focus on one single pattern to get started. Masculine nouns, like der Vater, which means the father. When my father is the subject, it's simple, mein Vater. But if you see your father, he becomes the direct object, so the case changes to accusative, and we say meinen Vater. If you help your father, he's the recipient of that help, which usually takes the dative case, so it becomes meinem Vater. Can you hear that pattern? Mein, meinen, meinem. That little rhythm is the foundation for so much of German grammar.
Now, here's the really good news. For the other genders, at least when they're the subject, it's even easier. For any feminine noun, like die Mutter, or for any plural noun, you just add a simple I at the end. Meine Mutter, meine Kinder. For neuter nouns, like das Kind, you add nothing at all. It's just mein Kind. See? The key is just making sure that little ending matches the noun you're talking about.
And here's a quick pro tip for you, a little secret handshake for German learners. The word for euer in the plural euer is a little bit of a troublemaker. When you go to add an ending to it, it actually drops its own E. So you'd say euren Vater, not euren Vater. It's a super common mistake, so if you can remember that one, you'll be way ahead of the game.
All right, you made it to the final section. You've learned a ton, so let's do a quick review. It's time to check your knowledge and see how all these pieces are fitting together in your head.
Okay, here we go. Here's a sentence. Anna gibt Michael ein Buch. That means Anna gives Michael a book. Your job is to replace the name Michael with the correct pronoun. The new sentence will be Sie gibt hein ein Buch. What word goes in that blank? Take a second to think about it.
And the answer is im. So why im? Well, think about the jobs. Michael is the recipient of the book. He isn't doing the action. That's Anna. He isn't the thing being directly passed along. That's the book. He's the indirect object, which means we need the dative case for he, which is im. If you got that, excellent job.
So, let's wrap it all up with the absolute key takeaways. Number 1, pronouns are your best friends for making German sound natural and not robotic. Number 2, cases are just the different jobs a pronoun can have. Is it the doer, the direct target, or the indirect recipient? 3, possessives like mein and dein show who owns what, and their endings have to match the noun. And finally, the big one, always capitalize the formal C. It's a huge sign of respect.
You now have the fundamental building blocks to make your German sentences so much clearer, more natural, and more sophisticated. These aren't just random rules. They're the patterns that make the language come alive. So my final question for you is this. Now that you know the patterns, what's the first sentence you're going to try to build? Thanks so much for watching.